everybody, I'm Tom Vassell.
I'm Joy Evans.
Today we're taking a look at a game called Spark Riders 3000. So Spark Riders is a game that's a cooperative solo game, and it's from a company, Arcada Studio, and their tagline is "Speak with your game."
Because, not a solo game, a cooperative game.
Well, solo and cooperative.
Oh, yeah, true. Okay,
yeah. Any cooperative game is solo.
That's true. Okay.
Not everyone, but almost all. Anyway, so in this game, it says speak to your game because you need an app, and you can speak to your app to give commands. Happily, you can also completely ignore that and just press buttons.
Which I usually do.
Yes. Right. But this is a game in which you're flying a spaceship and completing a mission, multiple missions. There's different missions, and I'll show you how to play it. For this game, you're going to need an app, and I use the iPad, but you could use the phone, although the iPad does work better for this, and at least for my situation. You'll pick the difficulty of the scenario you're playing, and then you'll pick whatever scenario you would like to play. Once you pick it, you tell it what players, what different astronauts you're using, and then the game will start. You start with some sort of cutscene like this, and then it will, once you're done with the cutscene, it will go and show you the different parts of your ship, and there's where you'll take your actions. The game's going to tell you how to set up. It might tell you, hey, put your crew members in the bridge, put a gun here, put a gun there, whatever it might do. Each scenario might have a slightly different setup. But then players are going to, on their turn, they're going to get one move where you can move 3 spaces through open doors. So these doors are not open. The blue ones are open. So for 3, I could go 1, 2, 3 over here. But you can't go everywhere in the ship. You get to take one action, and then you can take one help action. Now, all this is done simultaneously. So each person has a special ability that they have. They have a help token, and you will drop this help token off somewhere, and then someone else can use it. They can't use it, and they can use the first 2 parts of your help. The first one's the same for everyone, which lets them re-roll a die. The second's specific. And there's even a third help action, but you need to have a card before that one works. On the back, it tells you the different actions you can take. There's piloting actions, shooting actions, and tinkering actions. The different actions will go here. A piloting action, you can take a speed action or a combat action. When you take actions, you'll roll a die that corresponds to that color. And you'll get 1, 2, or 3 successes, or sometimes you'll get no success at all. You'll get a crystal, and crystals are used to get cards, or other things will happen. We'll talk about them later. You then indicate the number of successes that you have, and then you'll press confirm. And then you'll see at the very top here, you'll see that there's a spaceship going across, and you need to get to 10,000 to win, and the faster you're going on the spaceship, your piloting can make you go faster. You can also shoot, and shooting is going to happen because as the game goes by, there's going to be different aliens that are going to be showing up. These aliens are going to come in these little spaceships here, and it will tell you what to put on them. So maybe this one comes with a turret, some shields, a laser. Well, this is like a power generator, and then some shields that you'll put in the back. So the app will tell you how to set these up, and then they'll come behind your ship like this. But as time moves by, they're going to move next to your ship. Now, you might be able to speed your ship and force them to go to the back, but if they're on this side, you get to shoot at them. Now, when they first move there, if you have one of your crew members in that spot, you'll be able to roll a die, these orange dice, to take down their shields, but you can also take shooting actions to try to blow them up. Once all their shields are gone, then boom, they're gone. And there's some other things too. This one has the shield generator on it, so unless you have a laser attachment to your gun, it's not going to work. But that's going to affect you too, because you can also build these. And that's the third action here, and this is the action you'll use a lot more than the other actions, is fixing different parts of the ship. Your ship's not going to move if its thrusters aren't working, so you're going to want to come back here and get successes on your crafting action to add thrusters to each side. You want to put more shields on the sides of your ship so that they don't get damaged. If ships have a red alert on them, so for example, you can see here's an orange alert over here, and the game comes with a card that you can put that shows that. If that takes more damage, that whole section might get blown up. And then we would have to spend a crafting action with 5 things to rebuild it. So you got to be careful. And if this blows up, or both of these blow up, then you lose the game. So there's a lot of different things you can do with crafting. That also includes building new things. There's a card that shows you the different things you can build, which is not too complicated. You can build more guns. You can double one of your guns. You can add lasers to one of your guns. You can build the force field generators, which will protect your side. And you can rebuild a ship's room. Or you can fix things or add more shields. When an enemy attacks you, you'll roll a die for each shield. If you roll a shield, you block the hit. If you don't, you lose the shield to block the hit. And after that, you start having code oranges, code reds, and then that room will blow up. So that's kind of the game. Different people are going to show up. They're going to offer you rewards and things. I mentioned getting these crystals before. Once you have a certain number of those crystals based on the number of players playing, each player gets to draw a card. And other things might give you these cards. And these cards are gears and items. Gears will be stored underneath your thing. So you have room for 3 gear here. They're like special abilities, and items are one-time use. But this was during the shooting action. I can shoot aliens in the approach zone behind the ship. Here I can add armor to a ship. During my construction action, my construction costs 1 component less. As you shoot enemy ships, you get components that you'll stick here. And that's what you use to build the new pieces of your ship or build new rooms. This one here gives you an extra movement when you move. This will let you move through the closed airlocks, these red ones here that you normally can't get through. And this just gives you a free upgrade, a double upgrade. So there's all kinds of cool things. They'll either make you better or help you make the ship better. And then you're either going to succeed in your mission getting to the end or your ship will blow up, in which case you lose, but you can always play again.
I cannot say, we're going to take the app out. Okay, forget the app. We'll come back to the app in a second. Disregarding the app, this is some of the best components I've ever seen in games.
So good. I mean, everything looks great when you bring it out. The minis, just the way the board, the dual layer, the way the ship goes together. Man, it just feels
it's puzzle
nice.
pieces because you're taking those puzzle pieces off. The guns and everything now, it will look even more amazing painted.
Right.
I want to paint it. But the artwork, the theme, just putting the people up there that has their names on the bases too, which is a nice little touch. It's just good, and it also isn't that long to set up and play.
No, that's the other
You set up
thing.
the ship and get it out. I just found it to be very simple.
And everything fits together like it should. The double turrets go right on top, and then turrets go in those little spaces. It just feels good.
Now the app. So there's a couple things about the app. The app works. I ran into one bug at one point where the button wasn't working, and I saved the game, restarted the app, and it worked fine. It doesn't have a back button that I can see, which I wish apps did have, in case I make a mistake and press the wrong thing.
Right.
And because it's an app, and because there's sound effects and music, like we played it in a game store, and it wasn't as good.
Right.
Because it was harder to hear everything that was going on. So keep that in mind. And some people don't like games with apps. This game, you have to have that app.
You do, and I think it adds to it too. This is a game that will really shine if you had a TV in your game room. You can cast it to that, or even if you have a tablet, you set up maybe a Bluetooth speaker next to it. I mean, this is really it's immersive.
I think the voice acting is superb.
Really good.
It's really good, with a weird exception of the alien talks in like a Siri style voice.
Yeah, you mean the main Iris or whatever?
Yeah, Iris.
Yeah,
and
Siri.
and she talks and there's some mispronounced words, like she says breath.
Yeah, instead of breathe.
Instead of breathe. There's some weirdness to that, but at the same time, it's kind of a computer, so it's not. It doesn't actually ruin it for me for immersion. I just kind of like, oh, that's the weird computer talking. But I get a crack out of all the weird aliens that show up.
I love when that, because you see the same ones a couple times, and they'll ask you something different, and just the most random thing, if you want to gamble, if you want to do this. And a lot of them are like throwbacks to other aliens you've seen before. That's the fun part, the cutscenes.
Yeah, so here's the thing. I'm just going to be straightforward. I love this game.
Same here.
I really do. It is a cooperative game that is not particularly hard. You can watch us. We played a live version. We played it on cruise style, and that's pretty easy.
Yeah.
And I played on the next level, the normal level, and it's a good game. I've beaten it, but it feels like you really have to work to beat that. And then Nightmare is much harder. But I don't even know if Nightmare is impossible.
No, and the fact there's 6 missions, I think, on there, and then the whole thing with the app is they can update it and just add more.
I think they're random what happens in the missions. It's hard to tell. We run across some of the same stuff. I've run through the same mission and definitely ran into stuff on one mission that wasn't in the other. But man, so the game it's actually not a new theme. There's at least 4 or 5 other board games where you're completing a mission,
Right.
trying to let your spaceship go up, from Space Alert to Galaxy Trucker to there's just other ones like that. But this one, it's just so simple, and it allows you to play simultaneous, and the help tokens force you all to cooperate with each other, which is fantastic. I love that forced cooperation.
And the upgrades and stuff you get, the prosperity cards, whatever, are fun. The fact that you can do different things, the items and all that, you really feel good. I mean, towards the beginning, you're starting slow, and then towards the end, you feel like a god. You're flying around.
Even like in your first mission, the lady just shows up and gives everyone a card. Doesn't matter what the card is. You're like, yay, I have a card. Now, the rule book says do it. We found when we play in the harder levels, like when I played with my kids the other night, we drew cards and decided who got what card. Right. And that gives you an edge, slight edge for sure. We didn't care. We just thought that was fun to do.
It makes more fun.
But it's still the game was tough. Again, it's not super tough, but I don't care. I don't think there's enough of these simple games out there. I played this with my kids, and everyone had a blast, and the theme is super strong. Now, I don't want to pretend that the game is perfect. I think that for example, the shield generators, it's almost like, you should build a shield generator. I mean, it feels like that to some degree.
Yeah, that's one thing I do like is how the app does all your bookkeeping. Like as far as you mentioned how the thrusters are different, depending you change your speed. Trying to figure that out without an app would just be impossible. You know how fast you go if you have how many thrusters you have.
Oh, I know. I mean, that sort of thing helps a lot. The app just figures it out.
And that's what makes it simple, because you could just sit down and just really tell somebody, here's what we're doing, and start playing.
Yes. So, like, what can I do? You can shoot a gun. You can go fix something, and you can pilot the ship.
And the thematics of it, to be able to walk there, and you're standing at the gun as the ship comes in. It's like, look, you get. I mean, it just feels thematic.
It says 60 minutes on here. It might be a little closer to 75 or so. Keep that in mind. But it's just, when we were finished, my daughter said, I really expected a game that looked this good to be bad. Because unfortunately, that is the case a lot of times. What would you rate it?
I'm going at a 9. I really, really like this game. I can just see it going up, especially if they add more of the missions and things like that, because this was one immediately I wanted to take home and play with my family, because I can see going through those. And the way you laugh at those cutscenes, my favorite part of video games is those cutscenes. And in this, it gives it to you. And it's just like, and they're just wacky things. You'll be in the middle of a battle, 3 ships around, and somebody just asks you to pull over. And I love those little decisions that happen in there.
Yeah, and you never know. Someone will be like, hey, would you like to trade? And we're like, no, thank you. They're like, all right, we're trading. I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah,
so good.
I am also giving it a 9. This is one of my favorite games I played this year, and it fits in that, unfortunately, niche category of simple but attainable cooperative games. Almost every cooperative game we play anymore is fairly complex.
Right.
This one's simple, but it also maintains a strong theme. It's one I'm going to play for the story. I played with my kids, but I played with a bunch of guys at the game store, and I had just as good of a time each time. And I just found it to be a blast. I get, in the comments, people are going to be like, apps are destroying gaming, blah, blah, blah. But this one, the app really enhances the game for me.
It does.
I would like to see, like I said, a few minor improvements in the app as time goes by. But also, I have the whole game in this box here.
That's a huge thing for co-op games.
And I'm normally not a big fan of inserts, but the insert works really well. So, yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of fun. Spark Riders 3000. Check it out. I'm Tom Vassell.
I'm Joy Evans.
We'll see you next time.
In space.
And beyond. Wait.